I'm Amber Bell, and this is Real Agriculture. I'm here today at the Western Canada Conference on Soil Health and Grazing, speaking with Anneline Padayachee, and she's going to be speaking tonight. You're going to be speaking tonight.
Yeah, that's right. I'm speaking at the dinner event.
Right, and you're speaking about food.
Food, yes, we eat food, not nutrients, but food is our primary source of nutrition. So I will be talking about why farmers matter, because nutrition for humans starts on farm.
Right, and there is a bit of a gap, I feel, sometimes between the typical urban consumer and what's happening on the farm and where the nutrition is going, right?
Yeah, I think there's a growing distance between understanding how our food is actually produced and then actually consuming it. That distance is definitely getting wider in that level of understanding. And so yeah, there is a lot of misnomers. I mean, agriculture, food production is extremely complex, and you can be on farm 1 and you just go next door to farm 2 and their processes are very different because farmers have to work within the constraints of their environment. And so a farm is not like, a household block of land. These are big properties, and so the environment changes and you move between regions or you move between countries and continents. Yeah, it changes a lot. So there's no one size fits all.
Right.
There are fundamental principles, but no one size fits all when it comes to agriculture. And I think that's what makes it so challenging, because it is so complex and because it is so diverse and because farmers have to work within the constraints of the environment that they live in. It makes it really difficult if you've got a perception that this is what farming should be like because this is what I've seen on YouTube, or this is what my great-grandfather did on our farm in Brisbane. Well, it's never going to work up here.
Right. And okay, so tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into this. Like, you seem very passionate and excited about farming and food. So explain this to me. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I am a nutritional food scientist. I am from Australia. I love good food. I've always been interested in helping consumers or the food industry or policymakers just make informed choices. It's not my duty to tell you what to do, but it's my duty, I think, my responsibility to give you information. You can go away, digest it.
I like it.
Go away, digest it, and then you can make informed choices that work for you, for your family, for your budget, for your culture. And that's okay. So yeah, I've worked in the food industry in Australia, everything from fortified sports supplements and breakfast cereals to baby formula and premature infant formula, the whole gamut. Looking at how processing technologies can be used to improve nutritional outcomes. No one is ever going to go back to growing some wheat in their backyard and harvesting it and grinding it down and making a loaf of bread. No one is going to have a cow in their backyard that they milk.
Well, we might.
Well, maybe in agriculture, yeah, but
that's true, but not in the cities.
Yeah, and especially if you're living in in apartments and stuff like that. Like, you can have your community gardens and your rooftop gardens.
It's not sustainable, though.
Overall, we need the food supply. Yeah, so I've always been interested in how can I, as a nutrition expert, understanding what nutrients do, how they support human function, how our digestive tract breaks it down and absorbs it. How can I support the food sector so that they can create food with health in mind?
That's fascinating. So how did you get to working with farmers in this?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It clicks, right? But how did that work?
How did I end up working with farmers? Yeah, you're right. It's a bit different. I spoke at a conference in Australia 2019. So nearly 6 years ago, and I was asked to speak on the topic of the nutritional difference between dairy milk versus your alternatives.
Right, like oat milk and
your almond milks and things like that. And it's a pretty straightforward topic. Like, I can definitely talk to it. There are nutritional differences, 100%. If you can drink dairy milk, you can afford it, it's within, your values to have it, it is a nutritional super powerhouse. Like, definitely have your dairy milk. But simultaneously, there is a need for the alternatives. Some people they can't have lactose, or even worse, they're allergic to dairy milk protein.
Right.
Like, that can actually kill you. And then you've got other cultures where grain-based or nut-based liquid products are actually part of their culture and their heritage. So they have every right to have those products as well.
Right.
Nutritionally, they are inferior. So they do need to be fortified so that you can actually boost it. But there's definitely scope in the marketplace for both. So I went to this conference to explain it, and this was the first time I'd interacted with a whole bunch of dairy farmers. And so in the lead up to it, I asked the organizers, can I just go to a dairy farm? Like, let me just see. I kind of have an idea. You milk cows, you pasteurize it, it's pretty straightforward. But when I got out there to just see the complexity, like, I did not realize that they had to milk them twice a day. So that was like you never get a day off. You got to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do milking, and then you're there again at 3:30 in the afternoon, and your entire mindset is based on how do you support the function of that animal,
right?
So that, like, farmers get nutrition. When you talk to them about nutrition and their animals, or their soil and their produce, and how do they grow their lettuce leaves or their carrots, they totally get it for what they are creating. And that just was like, oh, wow, you guys know, you get nutrition. You just got to see it on how the impact is for humans. So yeah, I spoke at that conference, and I found it a little bit, I think I found it a bit confronting, because I had previously worked as a senior scientist for infant formula, and most of the nutritional extracts that we use in Premi formula is actually extracted from dairy. And so I look at these farmers as like these incredible heroes that are creating this amazing milk, that I can pull out certain bioactive nutrients to create Premi formulas that save millions of babies around the world. Like,
that's incredible.
Like, it's a great job, but really it's because of farmers that we're able to do this. And then when I met the dairy farmers, they're just like, yeah, I'm just a farmer. Like, yeah, I'm just a farmer. Like,
we just go out to our work.
What? No, you're not just a farmer. I have a job literally because of you. Premature infants, for this company I was working for, is quite big. We're saving millions of these babies because of you. So kind of try to get them to see themselves from a human health perspective. And that just opened up all these doors in all different farming, agriculture, like across the board of commodities, because they're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a bit different. We do have an impact on human health.
Right, and like I said, we don't have a whole lot of crossover. So have you heard of Dr. Richard Basmanet and his work at the University of Toronto?
No.
Okay, so he's been doing work on the omega-3 profiles on grass-fed versus grain-fed beef, and and it's interesting because we've started to have some of this come into the agriculture industry and in some of our conferences, but to see it come together a little bit more is great, because we get to see our product, we get to see our animals out in the field, but then to be able to be like, hey, this is what happens on the nutritional side, and this is why we're doing it. I think that's great. It
is really interesting to see, both in Australia, New Zealand, I've spoken in Ireland, primary producers are super interested and fascinated in the effect it has on human health, and they want to do better.
Right.
Yeah, and I love that. Like, totally on board. If I can support that sector, if you want to make good food better, I'm all for it. So yeah, I love that.
So what's next in your work?
When I get home, after a holiday, a little bit of a breather. So yeah, I head back to Australia on the 21st of December, so a little bit of a breather. Right now I'm actually working on a project to essentially equip primary producers across commodity groups so that they can explain the nutritional properties of what they produce. Essentially, you could have Dr. Anneline in your back pocket via this program in an app. And I think, I mean, ultimately we eat food, not nutrients, and it's awesome what farmers do, and it's great that they're, you know, trying to be guardians and stewards of the environment. But how does it affect me, who lives in the urban environment? How does it affect my kids? How do I support their immune system? I have got cost of living issues. I've got to get to work. I'm a 9-to-5 job. I'm stuck in traffic for 3 hours a day. How do I get convenient, quick, nutritious food that's affordable and culturally viable on the table? So like food is that, it is that equalizer, it is that connector, and so helping farmers to understand the nutritional part, and so that they can actually use consumer friendly aspects and terminology and science that helps what they do become more relatable. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing work that you're doing, and I'm so happy I had the chance to chat with you. And that was Dr. Anneline on Real Agriculture.